Okay, here we go. I got to read this, so sorry, everybody. We are not doctors. Do not use this without consulting a medical professional. Some of these can interact with medications or diagnosed or undiagnosed conditions, so please use at your own risk. Whew. Okay, also become a patron if you'd like, 2 episodes a month, and we want to see your spring gardens. So send us a DM on Instagram, and we will share it with everybody because your spring gardens are going to be amazing. I know they are because you've been listening to this and you're all ready to go.
Listen, he hasn't approved this, but it's okay. My spring garden, my garden in the springtime has a lot of dirt, you know. So when I talk to neighbors, I'm like,
yeah,
it's like, you're getting it together, you know, as people pass by. I'm like, yeah, I'm growing a lot of dirt, you know. So it's a part of the process.
It all starts from somewhere. All right, so this herb is calendula, and its nickname is the bone stitcher. Okay?
Not to be confused with the bone collector.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, confuse it. I don't know. So, we haven't discussed this ahead of time. Do you want me to start?
I started on the last one. You can go with this one.
Okay, boom. What does it do? It treats bruises, burns, cuts, minor infections, and might be bring more blood to the skin to cause new tissue to be made. That's pretty amazing for a little yellow flower.
Or orange.
Or orange, but generally. And it's a multi-petaled yellow flower or orange flower. The plant gets to be about, I think it's 12 inches high and about the same wide. It gets to be a little nice compact ball. And it's an annual, so it flowers constantly.
There definitely is that, you know, kind of spiny green stems and leaves. And then again, delicate is the word for the series, flower petal. And I was just telling Ben before we got started, the first time I ever grew calendula, I grew it from seed. And it was the Oktoberfest variety. And I thought that meant it only grew like in the fall, you know. So luckily, the timing worked out when I started it and planted it. It actually took a bit of a frost too. It was pretty sturdy, at least that particular variety. So you covered off what does it look like. Not to be confused with marigolds, which I guess some people do. The internet says you can grow it, and this is great. All of these are really up until today. No, that's wrong. Calendula is the only thing that's great for containers. Like, I started going through them, like chamomile is good for containers, which we went over in the very first episode. Then we had one for the patrons last week, which isn't optimal for containers, I wouldn't say. Unless you're, jasmine, unless you're going with the bush itself. But calendula absolutely works well in containers based on the size of it. You can start these from seeds. You can buy them if you want as transplants. You want to make sure that you are past the point of your frost before you put them out. It is absolutely, to Ben's point, an annual. Full sun, you know, it's going to blossom and bloom all throughout the season, which is super duper cool. I love a flower. And a quick tip, if you're buying transplants from stores, make sure you're looking at tags. A lot of the stores have the tags and have kind of the bloom time. If you're okay with something just blooming in the spring or just blooming in the summer or just blooming in the fall, that's fine. But make sure you read the tags or look it up online, because everything doesn't bloom all season long, like all throughout the growing season.
Calendula does.
That's the reason why it's on our list, and it's one of our favorites.
It is, yeah. Well, it's my favorite because its name is the bone stitcher. But
all right, I'm going to go over pests, and then let's talk hardiness zone and harvesting. So for pests, and I actually have to go back after I close out all of the research because I forgot about this item. It's considered a trap crop, which always makes me sad. But, you know, what are you going to do? So it can draw in things like aphids, thrips, white flies. So these are a lot, especially the aphids and the white flies. These are things that we talk about with other plants in like our vegetable gardens that give us problems. So that's the reason why it's considered a trap crop. If you don't want to enjoy this for the medicinal purposes we're going to go over, and instead you want to trap some bugs, that's what you are going to see on these plants. I've not seen these bugs attack my calendula. I'm just saying. hardiness zones,
Yeah, I
9,
don't know.
10, and 11, could make it a perennial if you're in those higher zones. But it can generally be grown from zones 2 through 11. No excuses.
Yeah, this is another one, no excuses. And it's amazing that something that with medicinal qualities can be grown everywhere. Fascinating how that works out, isn't it? So the petals of the flower contain the medicine. So you cut them and dry the flowers. And it's best to do this just when you're deadheading. So just go out and deadhead, and it's just like the chamomile. I might do my chamomile on Tuesdays. Maybe I'll start doing my calendula on Wednesdays. And you just take them and dry them. It's pretty straightforward. The difference is from the other things that we've talked about is how you're going to use it. So calendula is solely used as an ointment or a salve, and it's actually a natural neosporin situation. So you know what neosporin is, right? Yeah, some people don't. So it's a topical ointment that you put on a cut that it cleans
Disinfects
it
it.
Disinfects it. So you would make this into an ointment, and if you go to the Amazon link below, there is a section called Herbal Remedies, and I've put all of the things that you would need for that. You're going to need the tins, you're going to need vitamin E oil, and you're going to need beeswax, and then you're going to need the actual flower, but you're going to have to make the flower into a tincture first. So this is a multi-level process to do these things. The benefit is once you make the tincture, you have it to use over and over and over again. And the way it works is once you make it, you just rub it on your cut. If you have a bruise, you can put it on your skin, rub it. Like I'm doing it on the camera, like rubbing my skin all nice. So you can rub it on your skin and then you wrap it. And what that does is it brings the actual plant itself will bring the blood to the surface and start to repair it. And a lot of people actually don't even make the salve for that part. They'll just take the flower and wet it and put it directly on the skin. So there is that. And
just with all of these, you want to make sure that you're looking through these leaves, that there are no bugs on them, that you have some healthy leaves and flower heads that you're actually harvesting and using. I did have notes here, so I think you described the most common use, but I'm trying to dodge the gnats. Sorry. So the countdown of when I can get the gnats under control. So I do also have it used as a tea. I think just about any edible flower, somebody can toss it in and make a tea with it. It says it soothes internal mucous membranes. And then I also have it as just generally, and this is my favorite because you always roll your eyes at me with this. So the idea that you can cut the petals and add them to a salad, you can just eat them raw. Fight the urge. I've never tasted a raw calendula flower, so I don't know if there's a strong taste. Like nasturtiums, the flower sometimes depending on the variety, has a strong taste as an example. So I'm going to try it this year because I do have a few different rounds of calendula. Like I started from seed that I'm looking forward to planting out. Yeah,
I've got a bunch that I started from seed, and the benefit of this is with the calendulas, it'll reseed itself too. So now that being said, I've never really had too many things reseed themselves, so I'm just going to kind of let that one go where it is. But it is a possibility. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard of people using it as a tea. I know that as the main point, as it being the bone stitcher, that is kind of what the main use for it is. But, I don't know. I could see it. I mean, I'm not like you've stated, I'm not big into eating flowers. They're cool. It's cool to eat a flower, but I feel like it's just a flex at that point. You know what I mean? Like, look at me.
You know what, though? I was watching something, some video, some YouTuber was talking about, ways to make your salads interesting. I'm always looking forward to that. And a part of what he said was, and you can add a flower to this, and it's like there's really no, real texture or a taste that this particular flower is going to add. Yeah. It's just a little bit of vibrancy for color, and that's really, it's a garnish, right? But for the tea, it describes adding the calendula flowers to water in a ratio of a tablespoon of fresh or 2 teaspoons of dried flowers to a cup of water. Bring to a boil and simmer or allow to steep for 10 minutes. So, I mean, pretty typical.
Yeah, you typically don't boil fresh herbs because it destroys the oils inside of it, generally speaking. So the optimum temperature is just below boiling. Good luck getting there. But when I make my tea bags, I just do like a pinch. You know, I'll do like a pinch or two. And it's not an exact science.
Well, you can see from that particular recipe, they weren't even, I mean, I guess maybe it's implied, but I think it's really like flowers to water and go versus like what you would normally do with tea bags. But here we are. That's what we got.
Yeah. Yeah, you can put them directly in the water. I don't like that because I don't like to get the stuff in my mouth. Call me weird. What can I say? But yeah, for bruises and cuts and stuff, I've used it. Excuse me, for what's it called? For like minor cuts, and it does work. I mean, I didn't do like I didn't take a knife and like cut my hand twice and say, okay, this one is corn and this one is
the ultimate garden experiment.
But it's yeah, right. But it's, you said it best in the last episode when we were doing the community gardens show. It's all, this is stuff is about a holistic lifestyle. So does that mean that, hey, you should grow calendula and you should never buy Neosporin again? Or if you break an arm, you should just put flowers on it and wrap it? No, that's not what we're saying at all. But this is another option you can have. And if you feel like going a more natural route in your life, then this is something that you can do. And I think that's really important.
I think it is. And I think that I am kind of get all of the information together and then jump in. Like that's kind of the way that I'm built. That's what works well for me in my mind. And a part of my delay in using some of the herbs and some of the flowers that I grow is, in the back of my mind, I know it's just not like a one-time shot, right? You know, like you're just not going to do it a single time and then it's like, there it is. And so in my mind, it's like, all right, get all this in order, like get your house in order, get your herbs in order, get your, edible plants and things in order. However, I'm not going to kind of continue down with that thought pattern because I've just not gotten my things in order. So I'm going to start, little by little. I do want to, and I didn't see this very strongly noted, like, the caffeine associated with these flowers and things. But I do want to limit a bit of the coffee that I drink as a daily. And part of it, I believe, is routine, like something warm, right? We'll find out when I start going off coffee and you start recording with me. You're kind of like, wait, what? But anyway, so these are like, there's no need for me to buy anything expensive in the store. I'm going to have in my garden access to things that I can sub in a cup of, instead of having, tea or coffee at 6 p.m. like sometimes I do. Perhaps it's getting close to my bedtime, believe it or not. I can have a cup of chamomile tea, I don't know that I'm going to try the calendula tea.
So I grow 80% of my tea and I drink tea every day. So that being said, it's something that I just kind of fell into as well. I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I started doing it, but I definitely did it. And it was different flavors. Like I had a tea, I had mint tea. And then I was like, ooh, that's good. I like it. And I was like, damn, that's expensive. And then I had caught wind somewhere that like, hey, if you grow mint, you'll never be able to use it. And I was like, challenge accepted. And so like I would grow it. And then once a year I'd come and just whack, cut it back. And then there you go, so then I would dry it and have it. So you can definitely do it. And it's, every time I crack open my tea containers, I'm like, damn right, I bought that shit. Yeah, that's my tea. Yeah. That's not your tea. That's not his tea. Yeah. That's my tea. And I know what's in it, so that's what's cool about it. But to your point about drinking coffee, I use that to get off of the caffeine because it is that warm in the morning. But there's other products and things that you can do to help with that. But I'm not here to promote these things that I haven't tried, number one. I appreciate that. I want to try it, but it's expensive. So it's too expensive for me to want to try it.
I like that saying because that you end up with a shelf full of things that, that you're no longer using. And again, what's the worst that could happen if it's something from your garden, right? You end up just having a bunch of pretty flowers continuing to grow that you didn't harvest for these purposes. And I generally like this idea of the soothing effects, because gosh, how many of us are dealing with anxiousness in the world we live in, right? So I can.
Well, this one doesn't really help with that.
Am I not talking in general about, using some of the...
Oh, okay. Okay. You are.
Is that all right?
I was just making sure that we weren't like the calendula does. I didn't want to give any false impressions. We've officially not
signed on to the tea, and I'm talking about, the soothing effects of tea. But you guys get the point. Come on. You're listening to or watching this entire series, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I do want to say about the calendula, and one thing that I like about it is... the calendula isn't one of these, like, we mentioned this last time, but a lot of these herbs you have to continue, you don't have to, but you get the best effect if you continuously are using them. This isn't one like that. This is one that you can use when you need it. And I like that because I don't want to live my life being like, did I drink my chamomile today? Okay, well, wait, did I do my echinacea today? Did I do this today? Like, no, it's like, I got a boo-boo. Let me put it on there and move on.
But actually, that's a great segue to just make sure again. Chamomile was episode 1 for the series. We did jasmine as a part of the Patreon episodes, or Patreon episodes. And then today we're talking about calendula, and then we're going to end with a bang, right? So next week. We're
going to do echinacea. Yeah, we're going to do echinacea. And this
I learned so much about this one.
Believe it. Yeah, you've probably learned a lot about it, but you probably also... I'm going to wait. Never mind. You know what? Y'all are going to have to just come see us next week to see what I'm talking about. All right, everybody. I have to stop now. I'm sorry, because I will spill the beans, and then there'll be no point doing another episode. So check us out next week when we talk about echinacea. Be cool, be safe. Remember our disclaimer, check with the doctor beforehand. And... I mean, dude, just grow it for the flower. Seriously. Look it up, grow it as a flower, and enjoy it. Tell them something good.